So I'd like to thank you for all attending today. It's going to be my pleasure to introduce Assemblyman Bob Huff. Bob represents the 60th Assembly District, which includes portions of Los Angeles, Orange, and San Bernardino counties. Prior to his election to the Assembly in 2004, he served 2 terms on the Diamond Bar City Council, including 2 terms as mayor. He sits on the Health, Education, Transportation, and Budget Committees. He serves as the Republican Assembly Caucus Chair, which is the second highest leadership position in the Republican Caucus. Bob has been a hero to taxpayers of this state, and I'm pleased he's come to Walnut today to talk about this current fiscal crisis.
Thank you for the introduction, Tom. All you need to know is I'm here from Sacramento and I'm here to help. Yeah, that was supposed to be funny. Actually, it is warm out here, so I'll try not to keep you long. I don't want anybody having heat stroke. But I feel part of my job as your elected representative is to keep you tuned into what's going on with the state, particularly with the budget as it's unfolding this year. You know, we have seniors here who are impacted. We have families here that are impacted. We have city representatives here. Cities are certainly going to be impacted as well. The biggest problem, as you know, is even with our February adjustment, when we went into special session, we're still facing a $15.2 billion problem. Can everybody hear me okay? All right, good. $15.2 billion with a B dollar problem. And so there's been a lot of talk and a lot of blustering, but now they're getting down to the work of trying to figure out how to bridge this gap. And there are no easy answers. The last couple of years, even though our revenues have been expanding, we've had belt tightening, so it becomes more difficult each year as you get there. But what we find out, and I'm going to put it this way because I'm a Republican and we do work in a partisan atmosphere up there, Republicans are the ones that believe our families are taxed enough. Our Republicans are the ones that believe that we have fuel costs that are already rising. We have food costs that are rising. We have mortgages we're barely hanging on to in many cases. This is not the time to raise taxes. And yet what we find from our Democrats is that we need to close loopholes. And when you start looking at what a loophole looks a lot like you and looks a lot like me. Loopholes to them are the child tax credits. We have, I believe it's about $263 per child that's allowed for a credit with certain limitations. The Democrats want to take that away. We have senior credits, which is used by some of our lowest income seniors who don't have the opportunity to go out and get more revenue. But the Democrats want to take away those senior tax credits. That's a loophole. Well, I'm here to tell you we're not loopholes, and you need to communicate that. I got the message, but there's plenty of others in Sacramento that you need to communicate that too. But right now the cities are not being tapped, and yet there is talk of taking away and borrowing from some of the city money that goes back to them. I've had calls from some of my cities saying that if that happens, we will be in a serious problem. We've cut and we've cut. City of La Habra, for instance, lost their utility tax last year. They went to the voters. They didn't make it. So they have a $400,000 surplus built into a very tightly constrained budget. If we pull back more money from the cities, they go into default, and that's not a good situation. Certainly our other cities, including those here, have wisely, carefully nurtured your money, and it's not for Sacramento to come and eye it just because you've been good stewards. It's time that we in Sacramento reform the way we do business, and that's exactly what my Republican colleagues and I want to do. What do we want to do? First of all, we need to put a cap on spending. No more runaway growth. Revenues have grown 32% in the last 4 years. That's higher than inflation and population growth. But what's the legislature done? We've grown our expenses by about 37%. And frankly, they would have done it to the tune of 44% had we not made that adjustment back in February. John Chung, the controller, just got through saying that even this year, with all the all the talk that we're doing, we have overspent our budget. The state's overspent its budget by $3.9 billion. He just came out with that yesterday or the day before. But we Republicans want to put a cap on spending that's limited to population growth plus inflation. When the revenues go beyond that, the money goes into a rainy day fund that's only tapped in years like this when the revenues are not where they should be. We also want to have a business stimulus package so that instead of driving businesses out of the state with higher income taxes as is being proposed this year, that we give them incentives to stay here. We want to have a multiple year fiscal planning. not just look at this year, just get me through this year. That's like in the old Popeye cartoons, I will gladly pay you back Tuesday for a hamburger today. Every year that happens in Sacramento, and we need to be looking not just at this year, but next year, the year beyond that. We need multiple year fiscal planning. And finally, we believe we shouldn't adjourn session until the budget's adopted. Now, that's not a real popular one. Usually legislators go on break. Technically, I'm on break right now, but I'm here bringing this message to you, as are many of my colleagues around the state. I want to let you know also that we fully call for funding Prop 98. Prop 98 is education funding. We believe our children are our future. We don't want to mortgage our future by taking from them. We don't want to mortgage our present by taking from our cities. We believe the state, just like you and your budgets at home, and you that represent cities, we believe the state should live within its means.